Hey guys, Ron Lyons here from Tactical Redneck, and I've got a follow-up video to do for you today regarding one that I did, gosh, maybe 2 years ago it seems like. And that's where I went to Tractor Supply to see if it was at all possible to put together a bug out bag just from Tractor Supply, and we were able to piece one together, and obviously not perfection by any means. You would normally need to source all of those different items from different locations, but we were able to do something that was way better than nothing, and we did it on a budget. And now I've revisited Tractor Supply. The inventory has changed a fair amount from the original video, and I wanted to just kind of touch base on some things that I think would maybe help you with a bug out or a survival bag, a get home bag, SHTF bag, if you know what I'm talking about. They have different things that they did not have back then that I would definitely consider adding, or maybe even adding to anybody's bug out bag or survival kit or whatever. So I'm just going to kind of go through these things one at a time and kind of give you an idea. Now, we didn't try to follow a budget. We didn't try to build an entire bug out bag this time. We did this literally just looking to see what can you get at Tractor Supply today that you would add to a bug out bag, or things that you might want to pick up in order to be prepared in some sort of an emergency or survival type situation. And you may have seen we've got a video out on these gloves. I was thoroughly impressed with these. These are the Boss. This is a pair of CR3. They actually have a CR4 level. These are cut resistant and puncture resistant gloves. And so this is something that I found at Tractor Supply that I thought was really, really good. And it turns out that they're only $10 for a pair. So one of the very, very best purchases that I think you can go in there and make right now is a pair of these Boss CR3 or CR4 gloves. Literally lightweight, super durable. I put them through their paces. We have a review on them that I can link below, and you can see these things held up wonderfully well. So that's one thing right there. Another thing that I think is very, very interesting that I have not seen in Tractor Supply before. Now, they carry an awful lot of SOG products, SOG, right? This is a pocket chainsaw that they have. And surprisingly, this thing was marked down to $11.99. So this thing would fold up and fit in pretty much anybody's kit, anybody's bug out bag or supply bag, whatever it is that you have. And you'd be able to cut some, smaller limbs and stuff like that with this. It's it says it's bi-directional cutting teeth, heavy-duty stitched nylon wrist handles. So you wrap these, handles, get it around the wood, and then go to town. High carbon heat-treated steel on the blades. It says easy to clean and sharpen. Just wipe clean with oil. Compact, lightweight, dependable. And even back behind it in here, there's a carrying case for it as well. So you don't just carry this loose pocket chainsaw in your bag. It's actually got a nice little case in there with it as well. So there's a recommendation right there. Pocket chainsaw by SOG from Tractor Supply. Now, it's hunting season right now, and this is probably something that's not available year-round, but I thought this was really interesting. This is made by Vanish, and this is camo netting, and it's a good-sized piece of camo netting. This is 12 feet by 56 inches, so nearly 5 feet by 12 feet. And of course, it's got that woodland camo pattern on it, and I could just think of a million uses for this in the event that you need to kind of vanish, so to speak. And something like this, very, very lightweight, super easy to get this thing folded up straight down in your pack or in your survival kit. So I think that's something else that would be super, super fantastic. These things were marked down to less than $15 for this. So I think that's another really, really good opportunity right there, is to go in and grab one of these things while it's still deer season right now, while there's still hunting going on. I'm going to move on to a couple of these other things. Now, this is a Life Gear survival radio, and it's the kind that you've seen before. It's got the little hand crank on the side. It's got an FM radio on it. It's got a little flashlight that kicks out 100 lumens, and it can actually charge a cell phone. But here's the thing. You better have a lot of wrist strength and a lot of arm strength, because in order to charge a cell phone, I forget how many times you've got to turn this, but you've got to turn it like, oh gosh, 4 or 5 minutes, maybe longer, in order to get 1 minute of phone use. So in an emergency situation, are you going to use something like this? Absolutely. If you don't have another way to charge your phone, you're out in the field somewhere, you need a light, you need to listen to the weather or find out what's going on, something like this could be super, super fantastic. So I don't have a price on this, but it was extremely affordable. I think it was somewhere around $25 if I remember. And it's the Life Gear Stormproof Crank Light. Let me just look back here real quick and see if I can find out. Let's see, 1 minute crank creates 10 minutes of light or FM radio. Quick charge in 2 hours with a built-in USB cable. So if you don't want to sit there and crank this thing to charge it, you can just plug it in with the USB cable. Battery power switch to preserve battery power. 10 hours of low mode flashlight on full charge. And when charging a phone in an emergency, this is what I was looking for. Turn the battery power switch on, bottom of crank to off, turn the mobile device off, plug the USB cord into the phone, and then crank for 4 minutes to get 1 minute of talk time. So not bad. Basically, you turn everything else off, put the cable in, get to cranking on this thing, 4 minutes, get on your phone for 1 minute, and see if that can get you out of your emergency situation. So that is one of my recommendations. Now, something that's very, very affordable, these things are $3. And these are just your kind of your standard bandanas. They have these always available at Tractor Supply. They've got these really, really awesome camo pattern ones, and they're 22 inches by 22 inches. And I've used these quite a bit just in regular work, and they're very, very durable. $2.99. You could use this for so many different things, including a tourniquet if you ever had to. You could use it around your face as a sort of a filter, although it's not going to block out everything. A great dust filter if you needed to hide your face for some reason, or if you needed to bundle some things up, put some things, some valuables, some coins, whatever it is, into it and bundle them up. You've got so many different things you can always do with a bandana. So there you go, $2.99 at Tractor Supply. Now, you know, everybody kind of has a love-hate relationship with a multi-tool. And there's some really good ones out there. Gerber makes some, different companies make them. But you know, the plier part of a multi-tool is generally not amazing. So one thing that I always recommend that people have in their bug out bags, etc., is just a very small, durable pair of pliers. So this is made by the Crescent Company. And obviously you can do quite a bit with this. You can reach down, turn water valves on and off. You can do things that you couldn't do with a multi-tool. So there's other parts of a multi-tool that are very functional and good to have, but having a very small, thin, durable pair of pliers like this is something I encourage you to definitely have in your pack. This adds almost no weight, but they're very durable, and there's so much you can do with this. It's more of a channel lock, honestly. Angle teeth, max grip. You've got jaw capacity of 3/4 of an inch, and the entire tool is 4.5 inches. So there you go. Made by Crescent, available at Tractor Supply, something I would definitely grab and throw in the pack. Now you really, really, really need one of these no matter what. And what this is just a very inexpensive Blue Mountain brand. And of course, you know, I think that's exclusive to Tractor Supply. It's kind of like one of their house brands. This is a rain poncho, lightweight 10 mil PVC rain poncho. And I happen to get this one in green. There's a lot of colors. I don't personally want to have a bright color on a rain poncho. There's reasons why you might possibly want that, but I wanted the green, blends in just a little bit better. And this thing was $5. And it's nice, it's lightweight, 10 mil vinyl, that's gonna be fairly durable. And when you're out in a situation, I don't know if you've ever been in one of those, but when it's raining and you're getting soaked, especially if it's cold outside, gosh, this is everything right here. This thing is absolutely everything. And of course, there's 1,000 other things you can do with it. If you did have to harvest rain, collect rain for drinking water or something like that, there's so much that you can do with waterproof PVC like this. So I would encourage you to check that out. One size fits most, very inexpensive, and several colors available. Okay, now then, you know that Tractor Supply sells quite a few inexpensive knives, and so I hesitate sometimes, but I generally will check them out. I will do a review on them. It's probably not where you're going to go if you're looking for something more expensive or made to be very, very durable. But I did notice this MTech USA compact fixed blade. It's got a full tang. It's got it says high quality stainless steel. Okay, that's kind of open for debate on what high quality stainless steel is. You've got paracord, just a small bit of paracord wrapped around the handle right here, and you've got a nylon fiber sheath that this thing fits into. It's a fixed blade, it doesn't fold, but something like this was about $9 and some change. Something like this would be really, really good if you're on a budget. Throw something like this in your pack and just have it available. It's not necessarily going to be the most amazing thing, but there's stories out there of people who have actually been forced to survive on those old like 1980s, 1990s, the fake survival knives, the Rambo style that were, all made in China, very, very inexpensive, and they had a compass in the end, and inside there was usually like some little fishing line and a hook and some matches and stuff like that. There are people who've actually survived with those. Now, if you can survive with those, you can make it with this. And if you're on a budget and you're like, well, I can't afford the really expensive stuff, so I'm just going to do without, maybe you want to find middle ground, find something that's less expensive, that is still going to be helpful in a terrible situation. Because I promise you, given a bad situation, would I take a cheap knife or no knife? I'm going to take the cheap one all day, every day. And I think you should do the same thing. So like I said, less than 10 bucks. And it's got, it's got some survival type things going for it. The full tang, the stainless steel, the paracord, the sheath, the thin and lightweight nature of it. I think you could make that work, especially for $10. Now here's something that's super interesting, and you see this has got this warning on it. This is Orion's Search and Rescue Campfire Starter and Signal Flare, okay? Talk about something unique and different. You have basically two small flares in here, and these things don't last for a very long time. They're not like the big road flares that last for a very, very long time. These things have a life of usually 5 minutes or less, okay? But what you can do with this is you could actually start a fire if you've got some damp wood, you don't have kindling, you don't have fire starter, you don't have things like that. Something like this could come in really, really handy. It's you strike it, you light it. You don't need an ignition source to light it. You can light it with everything that comes in this package, and there's actually 2 in here. And then you can take that flame that comes out the end of this, and you can hold it to wood, and I don't care how wet the wood is, you're probably gonna get it started burning, okay? Now, the other reason to have something like this is, again, as an emergency signal. This is visible from very, very far away. It burns really hot, so it'd be the kind of thing that you'd want to light and then not hold in your hand until it burns all the way down close to your hand. But taking something like this and using it as a signal in the event that you're out somewhere and people can't see, you don't have a mirror that's adequate, you don't have sunlight to reflect, you don't have things like that, maybe it's damp, wet, raining, something like this would be fantastic. These things were less than $10 for a set of 2, and I did some redundancy. The things I found that I am actually going to add to my kit, I bought multiples of, and I would suggest you do the same thing. So when you hear the bill for the end of all of this stuff, you're going to be like, okay, that sounds like a little bit more than what we're actually seeing. It is. I bought multiples of different things, and that's why. So even at the end of this, when you find out how much everything cost, you're gonna be surprised at how inexpensive it was. And then whenever you add the fact that there's so much redundancy that I did, then you're really going to think it was a fairly good deal. All right, speaking of starting fires, right here, Rutland fire starter. These are fire starter squares. These things are amazing. 24 squares in this little box right here. These things break off 1 or 2 squares, place 1 or 2 squares under your wood, light by touching a flame to the rough edge of the square, and you're on your way. That's it. So there's 1,000 different kinds of fire starter out there. This happens to be one that's available at Tractor Supply, and since that's what we're talking about right now, that's why I thought that this would be a really, really good add-on to this video. So Rutland fire starter, they don't cost very much. This whole pack right here was less than $12, and perfect. You've got 24 squares in here, more than enough to find a way to store these things in your pack. Put them in a tin, do something like that, and keep them available so that you can start a fire when and where you need to. It's another thing that I bought multiples of as well. Okay, we're getting down here kind of towards the end of this. I've got 2 more things. One that's pretty darn awesome and one that's probably not pretty darn awesome. And I hesitated to even make this purchase, but I did because, again, in the sense of if you're on a budget and you've got a Tractor Supply and you don't have the ability to invest, you know, literally hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars into all of this gear and equipment, then you're going to make do with what you can. And so let's just go ahead and get this thing knocked out real quick. Realtree walkie-talkies. Yep, walkie-talkies. They're not radios in the traditional sense. They're not ham radios. They're not any of that kind of thing like that. They're not what you would maybe typically want in the event that you get in a survival type situation. But nonetheless, these things have a clear view 1,000 foot range. So that means that obstructed, they're probably going to work by hundreds of feet. But if you've got a situation where it's you and someone else, somebody's got to go out and gather wood, or somebody's got to go and do something like that, it'd be really, really awesome to have one person with this, one person going out with the other one, and at least have some form of communication. Now, again, they're not amazing. I don't think they're going to be extremely durable. They're definitely going to have a lot of static, and they're not going to be amazing. They're probably more suited for kids or maybe going out on the deer lease or something like that. But you know what? Less than $12 right here. As a matter of fact, $10.19 on this. So a pair of these, using them in the type of situation I just talked about, it could be the make or break. It could be the deal or not. So yeah, I already know this is not what you might typically want, but you have to remember the purpose of this video and the intent of this video. So in that sense, would I spend the $10 on this? Absolutely, I would. As a matter of fact, I did, and I bought 2 packs. Now then, the last thing, something that I think is super, super cool is this Surge tactical LED flashlight. Okay, 6 different light modes. It has a turbo setting with 20,000 lumens, and let me tell you, this thing is pretty darn durable, and it kicks out an awful lot of light. Now, I haven't actually measured the light to see if it is in fact 20,000 lumens, but let me tell you, this thing kicks out one serious bit of light. These things normally run pretty close to $100. But right now, at least at the time of this video, you can grab one of these Surge tactical flashlights for $49. Okay, now are there better options out there? Absolutely, all day long. But do they sell them at Tractor Supply? They don't. So if you're going to Tractor Supply, you've got 50 bucks and you need a tactical style light, then this is probably going to be your choice right here. This is going to be something that you're going to want to definitely consider. It's got a charging port on it and a power bank. Okay, it's got the crenellated bezel and faceted anti-roll design. That's good. That's very, very helpful. Knurled non-slip grip handle and a lighted sealed power switch so that, you know, when you're in the dark, you can find that power switch. You set it down on a surface, it's not going to roll off into the pond or whatever you happen to be next to. And you've got, like I said, you've got 6 different light modes. And this thing, I'd use this as a weapon. I was a police officer. We used to carry the the mag lights back in the day, and that's what this reminds me of. I may have bounced a mag light or two off of, you know, somebody's vehicle when they almost ran over me on a traffic situation, directing traffic or something, and I would imagine this would do a fair amount of damage to somebody's head in the event that you had to use it as a defensive weapon as well. So anyways, guys, that is going to wrap up this list of things. This is what I found. This is what I thought would be a really good idea for somebody who had a tractor supply and a budget. Now I want to tell you about the cost on all of this stuff. We literally made this purchase and got everything that you see here, and a lot of it, like I said, in redundancy, and it was $180 and some change. So for 180 bucks, all of these things, some doubled, okay, and we're able to put something together that I think is a really, really good bonus or add-on to anybody's kit. So that's going to wrap it up for now, guys. Thank you so very much. Please subscribe. Share the video if you like. Nobody ever shares videos anymore, but like it. Make a comment down below. That helps the algorithm, as you know. I'm not going to ask you to say anything silly. You can tell me how much you think this stuff is garbage, and I'm probably not going to disagree completely with you, but you have to understand the intent and purpose again. Okay, let's not run down people who are on a tight budget and need to do this stuff. I've certainly been there myself, and I'm sure that you have too. So let's be respectful, but make a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you want to see on another video, but make a comment. Let's kick that algorithm up a little bit. They already don't like tactical and stuff like that. They don't like this stuff. They already suppress all of this. So let's do what we can to push this stuff up. And guys, I'll see you on the next video, but until then, stay safe and God bless.